was like,
The Holy Spirit took over.
and no one cares about sprints.
I care about the sprint. McLaren
It's the world championship
hotline. I have some thoughts about that.
He's Max friggin' Verstappen. He should always be on your radar.
We get to the juicy bits.
Love the juicy bits.
I'm not a scientist.
Overtake King.
Yeah.
That restart, by the way, from Oscar Piastri.
Cheeky.
Diabolical. There's been lots of drivers. It's hard to keep them all straight. And we're live. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is Why Are You Yelling. Welcome back to another F1 race review. Today we are talking about round 3 of the 2026 Formula One season, the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka Circuit.
Woohoo!
Ayo.
Guys, we are not going to have a race review in like weeks.
For another 5 weeks, I believe.
And then we come to Miami. And then we don't have anything after that for 3 weeks.
So we're going to go a little over, we're going to 9 weeks and only have one race.
Oh my God. Is it 5 weeks?
Are we in winter break? What's happening? Yeah, it's, I believe so.
Oh my God.
I'm like, don't make me pull up a calendar and
Don't make me
do it.
myself.
Because I will right here, right now. Don't think I won't.
She says she got the receipt.
So we got, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it'll be 5 weeks until we're in Miami, and then another 1, 2, 3 weeks until we're in, where's after Miami?
Oh my
It
God.
is Canada.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we've got about 8, 9 weeks, and we're only going to have 2 races.
that's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy.
That's going to be like the second longest break we have from F1 in a calendar year, apart from the winter break.
No, literally. Okay.
So before that happens, though,
Yes, we will talk about Japan.
Yeah.
So the podium, we had Kimi Antonelli, Oscar Piastri, and Charles Leclerc.
I love this podium.
Oh
Can
my
I
gosh.
just say, I was so happy. I'm like, yay, Kimi, getting his second win in a row and just
Yeah.
second win overall in Formula One. We've got Oscar Piastri, who finally got to start a race and finished second. And then, of course, my boy Charles Leclerc
Of course.
in P3. Love
Yeah.
a Ferrari podium.
Love.
So,
Love
I mean,
that.
I was ecstatic with this podium.
Oh, yeah. Our constructors' standings. Alpine has moved up from 7th to 5th,
Alpine on the move.
overtaking Red Bull Racing and Racing Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Watch out for Alpine.
Watch out. Now, our driver standings update. Kimi Antonelli has moved from 2nd to 1st, overtaking his teammate George Russell. This also makes Kimi Antonelli the youngest person who has ever been like holding the world championship,
Like leading the
championship. That's nuts.
That's crazy. He's also the only teenager to have done it, to lead a world championship.
That's insane.
I mean, he's a baby.
He's a baby. And some more movement in the driver standings. We have Lando Norris has moved from 6th to 5th. Oscar Piastri moved from 12th to 6th.
Wow, big jump from.
How did he get points anyway?
He came in second?
But how was he 12th ever?
Sprint. Did he get points in a sprint? Didn't he?
Maybe that's what it was. Because
Yeah.
I was like, he ain't made a race start. Zero.
It was the sprint. He in China.
Okay. And Gabriel Bortoleto moves from 14th to 13th. And Esteban Ocon moved from 16th to 15th. So pretty impressive. Both McLarens are now in the top 10.
Mhm.
Didn't even participate last go round.
Yeah.
Oscar hasn't participated in a GP at all, except now.
Yeah.
So good on him. That's
Yeah, like he said at the end of the race, it turns out when McLaren, when he actually gets to start one of these things, they do pretty good.
well, yeah, and apparently during like testing, Oscar seemed to have great race starts, but he just hadn't built his heart, but been able to start.
Haven't been able to.
So yeah. Before we jump into talking about each team and how they did and everything, we have a few things to go over. The one big thing being Ollie Bearman's crash.
Mhm.
That was insane. And so essentially what happened was this. So to even just preface this has been an issue the drivers have talked about, that they thought this was going to happen. Even when they conceptually were talking about these cars.
When they were coming up with the regulations.
The drivers were like, no, this is not a good idea. This is what's going to happen. You need to consider this. And the FIA was like, eh. it'll be fine. We'll deal with it later. And the drivers were like, no, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
So what happened was Ollie Bearman was coming into like the spoon corner, and he was harvesting his energy because he had power in his battery. He had harvested power, so he used it. Franco Colapinto needed to harvest energy. So he was going slower than really you would have been, last year going into that corner.
Mm-hmm. If it were up to the driver, he would not have been going that slow.
But he had to harvest.
Yeah. And I think they said it was about a 50 kilometer per hour difference in how fast they were going, which is very fast.
Yes.
Like, it's a huge difference.
Yes. And so they've never seen that kind of delta before in Formula One ever, apparently. Like
between two cars that are that close together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So essentially what ended up happening was Ollie ended up approaching Colapinto way faster than he anticipated happening. It's like, imagine you're on the interstate, and this has all happened to us, where all of a sudden the car in front of you is not even that they've slammed on brakes. They've just slowed down to the point that you didn't even know that they were. Like, you almost run into the back of them. That's essentially what this was.
And because they didn't actually hit brakes and just like coasted that slowly, that quickly, that's more dangerous because you don't know that they're slowing down.
Yes.
And that's essentially what happened here, because there are lights on the back of the car. They're supposed to come on once the car's entered that like harvesting mode, I believe. And apparently those lights didn't come on.
Oh, I didn't know that the lights didn't come on.
That's what I heard from other people that were talking about it.
Okay.
So I haven't gone back to verify or watch the onboards.
Okay.
But that's what they said was that they didn't see that those lights came on, or that Ollie would have seen those lights come on in time.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that they hadn't come on, but it was more from, even if they would have, you approach so fast that it's like, holy shit. So he took avoiding action, moved, hit the grass, and immediately slams into the wall. He was going 190 miles an hour.
So he, going into the corner, he kind of goes, he takes avoiding action. He hits a bunch of like they have these little like signs staked into the ground. And so he hits a bunch of those, hits the grass, and then spins out in front of Colapinto, because Colapinto's still coming up to the corner.
Yeah.
Spins out in front of him and slams into the wall. And Franco apparently was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because he's like, what
just happened?
So Ollie gets out of the car. He's limping. He has like a contusion on his knee or something. Should be okay. I mean, now he's got a little bit of a break if he needs like stitch. I don't know. If he needs something. Yeah.
Yeah. He said he was okay. As far as I know, no one said what he injured or hurt or anything.
I heard where they said he had a contusion on his knee, but he had no broken bones. They did x-rays like there. But so this all being said, this has been a problem that the drivers said that they said it's going to happen. This is a recipe for disaster, that you're going to be having people slowing down at places that's not where you would. Like there are places on a track that you are expected to like behave. Like, you're approaching this apex, you're approaching a corner, you're expected to slow down, you're on a straight, you're expected, like, you should be on the gas, like, this is expected behavior. And now you've put this whole other system together that basically goes against that. And now you have people trying to harvest this and trying to go fast here. And this is exactly what they wanted to avoid.
And my understanding, though, is that the drivers don't have control over when the car decides to harvest energy versus deploy power, or do they not? Is it just that they sometimes have control over that? I'm not quite clear.
Well, their control is when they lift and coast, that harvests energy, and when they hit the brakes, that harvests energy. But I think there are other modes that the team then sets forth. I was reading that too. Sets forth as well, because they're like, okay, go ahead and harvest energy here. That's where they've determined. Where I think the team set that in place. So it's not like a computer's doing it against anybody's will. That's just where they've decided at that point in time. But I don't know if that was his doing, or if I don't know how all of that works in conjunction with one another versus when they don't have power on the straights, and they've complained about that, versus they're trying to harness or harvest the energy, because they can manually harvest it somewhat.
I guess the part that's confusing to me is that I've read some driver statements about the cars and stuff. Like even Lando Norris, he said basically that it's you don't really have control over when the power deploys. And so you don't really get to decide, and that takes, and I've heard some people say to this effect, basically that the drivers don't get to really decide or have that much control over when that power is deployed in certain instances. And so like they don't get to then like,
Well, there's two. The problem too is it's a 50-50 engine. So you have 50 electric, 50 like combustion.
Okay.
And so they do have the boost button they can hit, but that's been the problem is figuring out how to when that electrical energy is going to be, because Ollie hit his boost button. It wasn't that he suddenly was going faster and couldn't do anything. That's not what happened to him. But the issue is like when you're using these things, like that particular boost thing, because it was suddenly, like you said, like 50-mile-an-hour difference. Originally, it was 12 before he hit the boost. Then he hit the boost button, and it was
Franco was slowing down.
Yes, so it was a complete recipe for disaster, which is it's a safety issue. I mean, they're lucky that's the worst that it was. But
yeah, if anyone, by the way, I'm still like not 100% on exactly how the cars are working and how much control the drivers have. So if anyone in the comments can explain that to me,
that would be great.
That would be very helpful.
The guy that explained clipping, can you do that? That would be great. If you're watching,
Are we assuming it's a guy? It could be a girl.
He said, man, he replied to us later and he said, sorry, I mansplained. I didn't take that as mansplaining, by the way, because I read the comment and I was like, oh, okay. Because when we talked about clipping, we didn't say what it was. And then I did not take that as mansplaining. I read it and was like, okay, I have an understanding of what this is now.
So same person, if you could explain roughly like how, in general terms, like just how much control the drivers do have over the power deployment. Because again, I loosely have an idea, but it's confusing to me in situations like this.
Yeah.
How much is it the driver's control over the scenario versus like the car doing what it's programmed to do?
Yeah.
Or like how does the boost button come into play versus how much like machine learning is being done in the car, like with the all of that. I need to know how much control the drivers have over that.
Yeah. Because I do feel like we get like contradictory information from like this side and this side. And I'm like, how does it work? Like, because yes, I know like we have the new DRS, which is like the overtake mode, which you have the whole lap if you're within a second when you cross a certain line. I get that part, but like it is interesting and kind of confusing to hear like you have the drivers complain about, I don't have power in areas they think they should have more power. And I don't think it's not just about the battery, but I know the 50-50 engine thing has been a huge talk. And like I read today that there's a lot of people within the FIA that are like, fuck, this has been a huge mistake. This was a huge mistake, which everybody said it was. All the drivers were like, no. Even before they didn't have to keep developing this shit. Like,
I will say, to the credit of just like these regulations in general, I know that they're a lot different than what we're used to. And you know, a lot of the drivers, especially after Suzuka, when they were being interviewed, you know, a lot of them were saying they were exhausted, not necessarily physically, but like mentally, because they're having to use their brain so much.
That's too much.
Because they're thinking about all this stuff about energy harvesting and power deployment and all these things and what's the best places on track to do it. Like apparently they're like constantly communicating with their engineers about that information versus like the previous set of regulations their driving, I think, would have been a lot more intuitive.
A race car. They're driving a fucking race car.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more like muscle memory and intuitive and based on feeling because you're trying to extract the most pace you can out of the car versus like having this, artificial is what it is, an artificial element added to it that you have to then consider. And so, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that the drivers are having to be more strategic in what they're doing in order to operate these machines. I do understand where some of them could be coming from in terms of like it doesn't feel like racing anymore.
Yeah.
And I would, again, this comes back to me not fully understanding how much control they have over energy deployment versus what they like. I just don't understand fully.
Yeah, I don't understand fully either because it's the ways that sometimes it's presented when you read certain things. It's like, oh, it sounds as simple as they harvest when they lift and coast, they harvest when they hit the brake, and then they get their battery and they can hit boost. But that's not actually what's going on because there's so many things that aren't in their control, and I don't fully understand either what is and what isn't in their control and at what time.
And I know that could then obviously affect their enjoyment of driving and feeling like they have control over what's happening in the race car versus not. So I get all of that stuff, but then also, again, coming back just to giving some credit to this set of regulations, and we've discussed in a previous episode, the previous set of regulations was focused on aerodynamics and downforce. That was the whole premise of what they were designing the cars around. That was the chief sort of concept.
Yeah, and the floor. The floor was so important.
Is how to optimize that. It's aerodynamics, right? This set of regulations, the chief thing they're trying to optimize is the battery. It's the electrical component. And it's also the AI in the cars and the machine learning and stuff like that. Like that's what they're trying to study effectively and optimize. So it's just focusing on a different component of the car and how to optimize that component to make it as efficient and like fast as possible.
Yeah.
So like it's just a completely different concept around designing and driving a car. And I can see, because a lot of what Formula One likes to say that they're doing is that they take the learnings from the constructors and how they design the cars and how the drivers drive the cars. And they can then take those learnings and apply them to other areas of like science and even just like, you know, a Cadillac, if they're learning stuff in Formula One, they can take some of those learnings or even like Ford Motors and apply that to their actual like street cars. That they design.
Yeah. Well, that was actually I listened to somebody complain that this certain set of regulations, they felt that the FIA at the time had sort of bent at the knee at certain manufacturers who wanted to push for things. Like an Audi had come up.
Yeah,
and
I mean, and that makes sense. And I understand where they're coming from in terms of wanting to focus on the electrical and energy deployment and stuff like that, because that is the next wave of cars. It's like there's been already a huge shift going more toward like electrical powered vehicles. Boo! Yeah. So I get where they would want to then take these findings and apply them to the larger, you know, other areas and stuff. Like, so I get that part.
Yeah.
But at what point is that then doing a disservice to the sport itself, and we're sacrificing
100%. Yeah, I think that, and I think I had said when you got here, we had to get this ready before we started. I feel like the first two races worked out in a sense that I didn't necessarily comprehend or see like the cracks in the regulations or really understand fully what the drivers were talking about. But I felt like with this particular race, I understood it just from watching, like, I see what they're talking about, because it doesn't feel like race. It doesn't feel like racing. Like, it kind of, I'm like, this isn't Need for Speed. This isn't like Forza Horizon. This is not
the nitrous.
Yes,
the NOS
exactly.
Button.
Like, that's not what this is. This isn't Mario Kart. Like, I understand a little bit better like why it's been compared to that, because like these are supposed to be the best drivers in the world driving. Yes, a car, and yes, there's technology in it, but there comes a point where that's why you have Formula E. If you wanted to focus so much on electrical stuff, go to Formula E. That's what it literally is. That's not what this is supposed to be. So, and they've got it down pat. However, they're working it out over there because they don't seem to have these safety issues that I'm aware of. And if they do, and you watch that, fair enough. Correct me. I'm uneducated when it comes to Formula E in that sense, but it just feels like. Not to mention, it just feels like a huge jump in regulation where it's like, all 1 second, these are the engines, this is how the car's built, this is that. And all of a sudden, it's so new that like there's nothing you could take from the last 4 or 5 sets of regulations and even apply it. Like, it just feels like such a large jump that why are we trying to do all this at one time? The overtake mode, I'm cool with that. It's a new way of DRS. In a way, you have it the whole lap. You get to choose when you want to deploy that. That's strategic. That's a strategy thing I think the driver could easily handle.
Well, that's what somebody was complimenting Oscar Piastri on that for this race. They said he was very strategic in when he was deciding to, like, there was moments where he would let the person behind him pass.
Yeah.
Because he was like timing when they would cross that, there's like a detection point when you can decide if you get overtake mode for the lap.
Yeah.
He would let them pass because he knew, and he would stay close enough to them that as soon as they passed that detection point, he could then employ overtake mode.
Yeah.
And then get the boosts all the way through. And he was strategic about that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But I understand how, like, it's not intuitive for a driver to want to let someone pass them because they know that they can get the repass.
But it's like that at least is one of those things that I don't think you're having to do rocket science and equations. It feels like, driving. That's just, it feels simple enough to comprehend. Like, if I put myself in the driver's shoes, it sort of feels like this new set of regulations puts so much responsibility onto me in a way that So you want to put responsibility onto me, but you don't want to hear my frustration and you don't want to hear what I have to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't feel like open communication of like there's no open channel here. Like that would put a bad taste in my mouth.
It's shut up and drive.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I would fucking love to, but the car does it. And also, if you aren't even in control of the car, right, at certain points of what the behavior in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to effectively tell because that's another thing. Like, sometimes you want drivers that can help you develop a car because you can say what's wrong with it. You can go, hey, when I'm doing this, it's doing this, and you can effectively solve the problem. But if you have a car that has behavior that you do not understand why it's doing this, and you can't really effectively explain to them what's going on with the car because it has nothing to do with your reaction, it's just doing things on its own. It's like, what is this? Like, what? Just at this point, just let some, just put him in a remote control car, I guess, and we'll just drive it from the pit lane. Like, that's probably what the new, like, in like 4 or 5 years. Yeah, it'll be just new RC cars in like the next like 2 or 3 regulations. That's where we're going. That's what it feels like. So, anyway, the FIA has put out a statement. All that to say, they are having talks in April about the current regulations. They said it was planned regardless of Ollie Bearman's crash, but it's happening anyway. And I'll let you read it.
Okay. So the FIA's official statement says, since their introduction, the 2026 regulations have been the subject of ongoing discussions between the FIA, teams, power unit manufacturers, drivers, and FOM. I don't know what FOM is. By design, these regulations include a number of adjustable parameters, particularly in relation to energy management, which allow for optimization based on real-world data. It has been the consistent position of all stakeholders that a structured review would take place after the opening phase of the season to allow for sufficient data to be gathered and analyzed. A number of meetings are therefore scheduled in April to assess the operation of the new regulations and to determine whether any refinements are required. Any potential adjustments, particularly those related to energy management, require careful simulation and detailed analysis. The FIA will continue to work in close and constructive collaboration with all stakeholders to ensure the best possible outcome for the sport, and safety will always remain a core element of the FIA's mission. At this stage, any speculation regarding the nature of potential changes would be premature. Further updates will be communicated in due course.
Notice how they were like, whatever the stakeholders want, fuck what the drivers and everybody else, were complaining about with stakeholders.
Yes.
That's rude. Like, the stakeholders, like what, like a bunch of like 100-year-old men that like have never driven a race car. They just hold stock. Is that a stakeholder?
Well, no, I think they mean the FIA, the teams, the manufacturers, the drivers, and all the people they listed. I think that's them.
Okay, well, that's different. I'm like stakeholder. When I hear stakeholder, I'm thinking of the stock market.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Could be.
You would think people that have some real stakes, like their lives.
See, that's what I was thinking. More like people who... Are we talking like financial stakes? Like stakeholders? Like
maybe you're right.
Or are we talking about people that actually have a stake in the success of the sport?
I hope you're right and I'm wrong on that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's a little clarity needed here.
Yeah, it's like, which stakeholder?
Okay, so a couple other updates from this race weekend. We have Jonathan Wheatley suddenly left Audi after we praised him and gushed about loving him.
And we were like, I love him so much. He's perfect. And he said, I'm out.
He said, peace out.
Oh. Well, bye.
Yeah, so as of right now, Mattia Binotto is taking on the Formula One principal role for the team. But I saw an interview that he did, and he basically was like, no, this is temporary. He's like, we're expeditiously trying to find somebody to fill this role. He's like, I got shit to do at the factory, because Mattia's role is more like with the production, like manufacturing side.
Yeah.
He's like, I got a job at the factory. I don't need to be, he literally was like, I don't need to be here on race weekends. We need someone else who can come here and do that.
Christian Horner's like, pick me, I'll do it.
Yeah. So that was, they've been very like mysterious and not really released any information about why he suddenly left. But Mattia
Binotto.
Yeah. So Mattia said that basically Jonathan Wheatley told them that he couldn't do like a long-term commitment to the Audi project for personal reasons. If those personal reasons are he's getting an offer from another team to join them, maybe, I don't know, that's speculation. But he basically was like he couldn't commit to the long-term Audi project. And so they decided that because he couldn't make that commitment, they're like, yeah, you just don't need to be our team principal right now. So yeah, he's left. So yeah, I'm sad to see him go.
Yeah, that was sad.
A couple other things to mention. Fernando Alonso is a daddy.
Yay!
An actual daddy.
Woo-hoo!
He had his partner, I guess, had a baby. And all that we know is that mother and baby are doing fine.
Yes, I saw that. And he's like, they're good.
Yep, moving on. And I'm like, respect.
Yep.
Respect the boundary.
He said next.
Oh, and I wanted to mention real quick. So something about the F1 TV broadcast. So there was a woman who had blondish hair. I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. She took over for Laura Winter the first 2 races of the season. And I saw on Threads where she was talking about, and she did a pretty long video about her notes because she said people kept asking her what's on her note cards for the F1 TV presentations and stuff. And so she was giving like a detailed information. She showed us her note cards and what her process is like, which I find very fascinating because I'm very into I have a background in like journalism and media and stuff. So I just found that super interesting.
Yeah.
And so one of the things she mentioned is that people were asking her about, so in F1 TV, and I've noticed it the first 2 races during the F1 TV broadcast, there would be these like 10-second long pauses where no one's talking and you just kind of hear background noise like from the track or something, or like the wind blowing.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's happening? It's like dead air is what you would call it. No one's talking and we're just like, what's happening? And so she explained that the reason that they're having those silences is because during that part, if you're watching the F1 TV broadcast, simultaneously there's the Apple TV broadcast going on. And so they're doing both broadcasts simultaneously. So those 10 seconds, they're on a different audio channel throwing it to commercial for Apple TV. And so those 10 seconds are them throwing it to commercial, or it could be them coming back from commercial. And while F1 TV is on their commercial break, or the Apple TV is on the commercial break, she's like, we might have like 60 to 90 seconds on F1 TV that we have to fill that time. And so she's like, we'll do a short segment talking about something else. But she's like, whatever we talk about during those 60 to 90 seconds, we cannot make any reference to after we talk about it. So she's like, if we talk about, one of the Audi cars or one of the Audi drivers during that 60, 90 seconds, they cannot refer back to that once they come back from the Apple TV commercial, because the people watching through Apple TV wouldn't have any context for what they're talking about because they didn't see that because they were watching commercials. And I was like, I just found that really fascinating.
That's so bizarre too, because like if you have an Apple TV subscription in the US, you get F1 TV for free.
It's the same app.
It's the same. It's the F1 TV app. So I'm like, why would you choose to watch the broadcast through Apple? No offense.
Through the Apple app.
Through the Apple app, like through the Apple TV app. Like, why would you even choose to watch it like
Just
that?
Just use the F1 TV app. It's much better.
Yeah, it's much better. And like, why would I want ads?
Yeah. I don't know. That's what she was explaining, and I just found it interesting.
I guess it's the live broadcast if you're not, but like, again, I don't understand. Like, if you're watching it through Apple TV, why would you ever choose to just not watch it through the F1 TV app?
Maybe some people are casual viewers and just don't know. I don't know.
Well, the more you know. If you have an Apple TV subscription, go download F1 TV. You can link your Apple account to your F1 TV account. Once it's linked up, just watch everything through the F1 TV app. That's what you should do.
Yes. That's our PSA.
Yes.
One other thing I wanted to mention from the F1 TV broadcast is during the post-race show, they had on 2 former Formula One world champions. So they had Jacques Villeneuve and Damon Hill that they brought onto the show, and we're just talking to them about the race. I guess they were both there. And I just thought it was a fun little interview. I enjoyed getting to see their faces because I've heard their names. I've just never seen their faces before.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that segment. Yeah. And then Jacques Villeneuve was stunting on everybody with his glasses. I even took a photo of my phone, I took a photo of my TV and sent it to you and was like, and his glasses.
You said, hello?
I loved him. And he was just giving like cool guy vibes. I was all about it. I was like, Jacques Villeneuve, I like your vibe.
He's cool.
He's a cool guy.
Cool.
Yeah. So now we're going to get into our team breakdowns and recaps for every individual team. Starting with Mercedes. So
Ew.
we had Kimi Antonelli. Obviously, we mentioned he won the race. And our fun fact for Kimi Antonelli, and we mentioned already, but we're going to mention it again because it's worth repeating. Kimi Antonelli became the youngest ever championship leader with his win in Japan, overtaking his teammate George Russell. Also, the first teenager to ever win to lead a driver's championship. Just super impressed with Kimi.
Yeah.
Apparently George had some issues with his car, or he's been unlucky at certain points.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, his 19-year-old teammate is outshining him.
Ooh.
And I'm like, come on, George, let's get with the program.
Come on. Yeah, Kimi, he has now 2 back-to-back pole positions and back-to-back wins.
Yep.
Insane.
He is outdriving George Russell, and that is crazy.
Yeah, I thought George, we know Mercedes starts aren't good, so that wasn't
They're
really
terrible.
surprising.
I mean, they were crawling. Apparently they had wheel spin at the start, so they have got to get that figured out, because it literally is like Ferrari and McLaren just like jumped. Whoop.
Well, and what's crazy is McLaren's using Mercedes engines, so it makes you go, what else is causing this?
There's got to be something in their starting procedure that they're not hitting in the right way. They just have to. They've got 5 weeks. Figure it out before Miami, please. Because they were even talking to Oscar Piastri in the post-race press conference, and the interviewer asked him, was that like, how great was your start? When you took the lead.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was a really good start. However, with me being behind, was he behind Kimi? I don't remember. I don't remember where he qualified. So, anywho, George was stuck behind one of the Mercedes cars, and so, Oscar was stuck behind one of the Mercedes cars. And so he said basically because of that, it compromised his start to an extent, because instead of just going straight, he had to jump out of the way and go around the car. So obviously that compromises some of your speed.
Yeah.
But yeah, these Mercedes got to figure out their starts.
Yeah. I mean, because both McLarens had good starts. I mean, Lando had a good one too.
Yeah. I mean, Kimi dropped immediately from 1st to 6th before the first corner.
Even Lewis, he said bye.
Yeah. Both Ferraris, McLaren.
They said, see you later. Yeah, not great. So George, though, he apparently had some issues with his, what did they say here? They said, okay, he had some technical issues where, including he has some harvesting problems and unexpected super clipping issues. And not to mention, he just got caught out on that safety car. He got the shit end of the stick and it just was not going great. And I know he had something they did as well with qualifying. So going into qualifying, they changed the setup of the car. It didn't really work out, but now you can't change it unless you want to start at the back of the grid. So he was stuck with those setup changes in qualifying he wasn't happy with. So there was just multiple things kind of leading to a recipe of disaster. But, come on, George.
Yeah, he was really unlucky with that safety car. So basically the Ollie Bearman's crash caused the safety car to come out. And literally the lap before we had, because the Oscar Piastri pitted, I believe.
Yeah, because he was like, do not get fucking undercut by these Mercedes.
Literally, because they asked Oscar over the radio, they're like, do you think we can go for the win here, basically? And Oscar's like, yeah, if we can maintain track position, basically meaning, like you said, don't get undercut by these Mercedes cars. So they called Oscar in. He did his pit stop. And then they called George in to do his pit stop because Kimi had done his, I believe. Or no.
No, he pits under the safety car.
That's what it was. Okay, so when they called George in, one of the F1 TV broadcasters, one of the commentary guys, was like, why are they calling him in now? Because I think Oscar had only had his new set of hards on for about 3 laps. And then they called George in to pit. And so they're like, well, why are they calling George in now? Because if he's going to fight with Oscar and they're putting George on hards now, 3 laps on a hard tire, it's not a huge advantage. George is not going to have a huge tire advantage over Oscar because Oscars are only 3 laps older.
Yeah.
Right? It would have benefited him to wait a little bit longer and then pit so that he could have a newer tire advantage later on in the race.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. And so then they were guessing that maybe he was doing it to undercut Leclerc.
Yeah, I know they were having some issues. Suzuka's hard to pass. So I think they were probably also considering whoever, go ahead and pit. Everyone else is going to have to pit. It's going to give you track position back in the sense of the person you're going to have to fight is just Piastri rather than the gaggle of cars that might be ahead of you. So
and pitting into traffic. So maybe that played a role. But basically, they called George in. Some people thought too soon.
Yeah.
They called him in. He pitted, and then 1 lap later, Ollie Bearman has his crash, and there's a safety car, and then George Russell is just on the radio. Unbelievable. Like, just he's outraged, and I'm like, I'm also outraged for you, George.
Yeah, that was insane. But
it was just unlucky. They took the gamble on pitting that early. Yeah. And then there was a safety car, and then literally everyone else like dives into the pits, including Kimi, which that just, Kimi went on to win the race. Yeah. And so, George having the safety car not go in his favor. And then also the issues he was having with the car just meant that he just didn't have a chance.
No.
Basically. So, he still came in 4th.
Yeah. Listen, I'm like, nah, just
be patient.
George is still he's that dark horse. We've said it for like 2 years now. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just, I'm like, nah, I'm not writing anybody off yet. Like,
No, I don't.
I still think George is the I know Kimi's ahead right now. Mm-hmm. I still think George is the favorite to win it.
Yeah. We've seen Kimi buckle under pressure before, and he's still very young. This is only his 2nd season in Formula One. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again.
Yeah. It's a second. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And again, it's just because he's so young and so new to this level of the sport and the pressure that comes with all that. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened again and George, outperformed him later on in the season. It's so early in the season. I'm still not even convinced Mercedes is the runaway favorite to win it all.
I don't know. We're definitely going to find out once they measure the compression ratio differently starting in June, and also if they're going to do anything about the current regulations, if they're going to tighten them up. But
I think Mercedes still is under threat from Ferrari and McLaren. I think
they're going to be under more threat from McLaren than Ferrari. Yeah. I think if they could get those starts, like if McLaren has the starts like that, at least what we see now. But according to Fred, that the championship's going to be changing a lot come Miami, because I did read that the power unit in the Ferrari now is not the power unit that's going to be like the bitch. So
I could see a late season push from McLaren or Ferrari to challenge for the championship. I'm not, just something in my gut is like, I don't think Mercedes has got it in the bag.
Listen, I can't say my gut feeling because I can't curse it out loud, but if y'all have eyes and if you can zoom in, you can just see what's here and we'll just call it that. And that's just my opinion and my gut. And what I want more than anything
and wishful
in the world.
Delulu thinking.
No, it's not Delulu. Listen, go look at the history. It speaks for itself. Okay. But yeah, we'll see with Mercedes.
Moving on to McLaren.
Sort of covered it already. Some of it, but we've got some stuff.
Yeah. So, Oscar Piastri finished P2. This was his first podium of the season, his first race start of the season. Again, he got a great launch, jumped into the lead. He just did a really solid job.
Oh,
he was
for sure.
Very strategic in his driving. He's one of my top 3 favorite drivers.
Literally, because honestly, Formula One to me, it can be such an ADHD sport, which I have, so I can say. I was like, oh God, Oscar, he's great. I loved Oscar. I've loved Oscar for 2 years, but I'm like, oh yeah,
he is great.
Oh my God, there you are. Hey!
I forgot about you because I haven't seen you race, and
I've seen you, I guess at a sprint, but other than that, so
nobody cares about sprint.
I'm sure Oscar did because it was the only thing he did till yesterday. I was impressed with Oscar. Honestly, I was impressed with Lando's start too. I feel like it's funny because, there's always so much attention on the world champion from the previous year. And I just am like, Lando bless. I just feel like there's been no attention on McLaren or Lando, and it's been super under the radar. And maybe that's just due to the fact of the regulations, but it's kind of funny because all eyes are always on Max. Mm-hmm. They're always on, I would say they're always on Lewis. Mm-hmm. And that's the 2 people just, they're immediately like, what are they doing? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then they'll that's it. I feel like they're the measure. They just use them as this measuring stick.
Yeah. They're like, how are they doing in the championship right now?
Yeah. Because it's, anyway, but no, I think that they
pay more attention to Lando. He needs more attention as the defending world champion.
Did he maybe he didn't have anything for us to look at.
That is very fair.
That's
he did come in 5th. He wasn't really fighting at all for the win or even really a podium. He just kind of had a want weekend. It's like, meh.
Yeah,
you did fine.
Not bad. It's just it might be one of those things where 2024 where all of a sudden Lando's like, what am I? How am I here again? How am I here? Not how again, but how am I here? Maybe it's going to be that. Maybe we'll get to Miami.
Like, how am I challenging for?
Yes,
like out of nowhere. I mean, if you quietly just keep putting in consistent performances and other people are like yo-yoing, I mean, there is something to say for consistency and building up, points steadily over the course of the season.
They're definitely going to have to hope that Kimi and George wreck each other at some point because they've got many points versus McLaren, who's, they've had like DNSs and DNFs, whatever, on their plate. So they got to get that fixed. But
yeah, McLaren has had 2 race weekends where they didn't have both cars scoring points, which is like, you can't have that in the battle for the constructors. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I got my eye on McLaren.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard the last of them.
No, which is insane because I literally was like, they're not on. I'm like, they're not even on. Like, they're
not on your radar.
They're still in Formula One. Like that's just
I have not seen an orange car in so long.
It's just been Ferrari.
Yes, Ferrari. We had Charles Leclerc finishing P3 and Lewis Hamilton finishing P6. Fun fact for Ferrari is that this was their 3rd consecutive Grand Prix podium of the 2026 season, with Leclerc delivering this one in Japan.
Oh, have they really? I didn't even realize that. Mm-hmm. And then Lewis got his first in China.
Yeah.
Yay. No, they did. I mean, the Ferraris have great starts.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
They're fast in the corners.
Yes.
Slow as shit in the straights.
It's bad. And Charles was so frustrated. I heard a team radio of his where he's just like, I'm sick of this. Like, I'm sick of like, I do this because this is what I should do. Then it turns out I shouldn't have been doing this. It's just so much frustration from them. And I'm like, no, I
feel like the frustration is like because he can taste it. Like Charles can taste the win. He's like, we're so close to, and then it's just not. All these little things happen and it just slips away and it's like it's in my fingertips.
Yeah, and it's frustrating when it's like the claw machine.
Yes,
it's what it is. It's
it like grabs it and then you got it,
and then it's gone. You're like, what the heck? And it's just Toto Wolff in there grabbing it from them. He's like, you can't have that. So. Yeah, no, I mean, Ferrari did good. I mean, P6 from a boy is not what we all want for Lewis, but I mean, it kind of just is what it is. I mean,
solid finish. I mean,
he's in the points. He's had I think he had a great start to the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think Suzuka is always a challenging circuit regardless. Lewis, something he had talked about was he could feel, this was before the race, so this is when he was still sunshine, happy Lewis, was, he could feel his like fingerprint on the car because he helped develop it and that felt really nice. And so, he talked about, we have a lot of work to do at the factory. They have a lot of time. And it seems to me that he's been because he can see the things that he's asked for be implemented. So hopefully this just means that will continue because I'm like, they're competitive. I'm not saying that's obviously due to just him by any means, but I'm like, hopefully we just continue in the right direction. But I agree. I don't think that the runaway favorite at the start of the season, but I think that sort of that narrative's sort of gone at this point, just based on the fact that they're not the runaway favorites, because if for whatever reason they don't qualify first and you get not, even though we did see overtakes in Suzuka, there's going to be other tracks that like it's going to be even harder, even with your boost and overtake and all this, whatever, right? But their starts are ass. Mercedes starts her ass. McLaren.
I was so confused. I was like, who's the runaway favorite? We're talking about Ferrari.
But I just mean like McLaren. This race has shown like, nah, it's more than just Ferrari who's going to be able to like be nipping at your heels.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, with Ferrari, yeah.
Moving on to Alpine, Pierre Gasly had weirdly a really good race.
Poor Max was just like, let me through.
So Pierre Gasly finished P7. He is now finished in the top 10 in all 3 races to start the season.
Oh, we got to talk about what's going on with his teammate then.
Yeah. So Franco Colapinto finished P16. Apparently he had a good start, but then obviously had the Bearman crash and the safety car came out at a bad time for him. So I thought it was funny. They were interviewing him about, after the race.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, we just were unlucky with the safety car. The safety car that was caused by your incident with Ollie Bearman. And you didn't benefit from the safety car? That safety car?
Nope.
That was funny.
Yeah, his qualifying is, they're going to have to figure, because, obviously there's performance in it, because look at Gasly.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that there's such a disparity, like a difference between where Pierre is finishing versus where Franco is finishing, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like you should, I firmly believe if your drivers are of a relatively equal caliber in equal machinery, that they should be finishing within 3 places of each other.
Yeah.
And that's being generous.
Yeah.
Not like a 9-place difference.
No.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Literally, Franco should have been like P10.
Yes.
And he's not. So what? We got to figure this out, Franco, because I like you. I like Franco. I don't know which camera I'm looking at.
Yours?
Mine. Franco, I like you. Get your shit together, dude. Come on. Figure it out. I want to see you do better. I want better for you and for that pink car.
Pink car.
I love the pink car.
No. Yeah, I hope better for him. I think he struggles in qualifying. It's probably his biggest issue. So that's, and, the cars do behave differently. They have different, parameters they set up for it or how they want to approach it. So I'm like, we just gotta, I don't know. But insane though. I mean, Gasly's putting in the work going from 7th to 5th. And Franco Colapinto did get points in one of the races because we made a big deal about it. So he's contributing, but he did not contribute this race. And so going from 7th to 5th is all Gasly.
Mm-hmm. For Alpine.
For Alpine moving from 7th to 5th in the constructors. So they need to get that worked out.
Yeah. Pierre, in a post-race interview, he said that he was like basically exhausted after the race because for like 25 laps, he was defending against Max behind him. And he's like, that was like one of the most exhausting races of my life.
Obviously.
He was like, Max is just a lot.
Yeah, Max, because Max is like, move.
Max is like, let me through.
And he's like, no. No. Speaking of Max, Red Bull.
Yeah. Red Bull did not do so hot in this race. I don't know what's going on with the Red Bull car. Because if Max can't extract performance out of it, no one can.
He's sick of it, dude. He's went through the 5 stages of grief. He's accepted it and he's like, I'm retiring. This is how it's fixing to be. He's already made his steps into endurance racing. Mark my words. Unless some dramatic change happens from all these meetings in April and things improve, you can kiss Max goodbye. Because he ain't going to do shit he don't enjoy.
Max does have a contract through 2028, I believe. However, we do know, or I have heard, that there are stipulations within his contract that if the team or him specifically falls below a certain points threshold at a certain point within the season. So basically, if by a certain date he doesn't have a certain number of points in the season or is within a certain number of points of like the championship leader, basically, so the team is not competitive is what it comes down to, then there's stipulation in his contract that if they don't meet that, then he can break his contract early.
Oh, yeah.
He can leave early. So the team needs to do everything they can at this point to keep Max because that's the only thing keeping them alive. Not that I don't hate Isaac Hadjar at all. I like him just fine.
No, but we're talking about Max Verstappen now.
But yeah, I mean, Max is just a different breed altogether.
Max is like a shiny Pokemon. You just got to catch it and you just keep it forever. As long as you can.
Never trade it.
No. So, yeah.
I wanted to look at the qualifying results because if I remember correctly, it was, so Max was out-qualified by his teammate.
Mm-hmm.
And also out-qualified by Arvid Lindblad, who's on Racing Bulls or VCarb or Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, whatever they're calling themselves. So Max was out-qualified by the junior sister team and by his teammate, who are both, one's in their first season of Formula One and the other's in their second season.
He finished ahead of him, so.
Yeah. I know Max was pissed.
Oh, yeah, because I'm like, well, that has nothing to do with him. Yeah. He's not qualifying P11 because of anything he's doing wrong.
Yeah, exactly. So, he's like this ain't my fault.
He goes, this car is ass.
Mm-hmm.
He just Nicky Lauda. He goes, it's a shitbox.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, and then Isaac, he finished P12. And, funny enough that, like Anna just said, he outqualified Max, but he did not outperform him in race pace. And not that maybe there's reasons for that, but I mean, he's Max Verstappen. So.
Yeah, it said he had, Isaac had deployment issues, which made it harder for him to attack or defend.
Which, I mean, I saw Max pass him anyway, like during the start, or like the first few laps, he was like, get out the way now. You got to move.
moving on. Speaking of the sister team,
Yes.
the junior sister team, Racing Bulls, we had Liam Lawson finishing P9. So he is now, fun fact for Lawson, he has now scored points in both of the last 2 races.
Go, Liam!
Yeah. I mean, Liam is one of those guys that I think he got a little bit of a bad rap.
It's because of who he took this hit. It's because of Danny.
Yes.
But I'm sorry.
He took the seat of Daniel Ricciardo at Racing Bulls, and people felt the ways about it. And he also, I think, came out, arms swinging, elbows out for several races, and I think rubbed a couple people the wrong way because he was being a little bold, a little brash, a little cocky.
I don't think anybody would have cared if he wouldn't have taken Daniel's seat. So it does feel like behavior that if we would have seen anybody like new driver done, we'd be like, oh, whatever. But he took our beloved Daniel Ricciardo's seat, and we all felt the type of way, and we were all looking at any little thing to complain about at the time. Yeah. I love Liam now.
I think he did grow on us, and yes. I'm firmly rooting for him. I want him to do well. He had his sad boy Liam phase after, last season when he only raced. He was at Red Bull for 2 races, and then they were like, bing, to the junior team. So
that's harsh.
he had. I felt for him in his sad boy Liam era, but then he eventually figured his stuff out and got over it. And I think he's doing better. He's in a better place now.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's passed away. He's in a better place. He is not. He's alive.
Yes. He's alive. For those who don't know.
But yeah, so he finished P9. He got 2 points. Benefited from the safety car timing, had an okay race. I mean, we'll take the 2 points. I want Liam to do well.
No, I do too, out of spite, just because even though, Christian Horner said he didn't make the decision to move Liam to Racing Bulls from Red Bull. I think other people say he did. Either way, it felt shady and rude.
And didn't give him enough time.
No, so I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
Lindblad apparently was running in the points pretty good, but I do remember he was in the points, but he had issues with his front left tire, and he had to pit stop early, and then the safety car, so he just, he pitted. Then the safety car came out, so kind of just ill timing for him. So he dropped from P10 to P14, and he never really had any pace to recover after that. So that's okay.
Yeah. Racing Bulls did mention that they have upgrades planned for Miami, so they feel like there's still room for improvement and performance to come, which I think most teams at this point are planning to spend the next 5 weeks in simulators and developing and bringing upgrades. So they got 5 uninterrupted weeks that they get to. It's not like the summer break or winter break where it's like a shutdown. They get to still work and develop the car during that time and really focus on it. So,
And then we have Haas, our last point scorer, Esteban Ocon.
He came in P10. This was his first points of the season.
Oh, yeah, because Ollie's been outperforming him.
Yeah.
Which everyone was really shocked at how Ollie qualified. It was just not a great because he's been in the top 10. He's been kind of the lead Haas driver this season so far. So it was nice. It was nice to see Esteban finish in the points.
Mm-hmm.
But we already talked about Ollie's crash, so he had a DNF.
Yeah.
We don't got to go back into it, but he wrecked.
He had a little bit of a limp, but he said, he put out a statement and he's all good.
Yeah. So I think
hopefully he can rest up before Miami and fully, recover from whatever injuries he sustained.
Yeah. I really like Ollie Bearman. He is probably one of my favorite little rookies. I loved all our rookies from last season, but Ollie Bearman just strikes me as somebody who will be around a long time. And I don't know. I've got a feeling about Ollie Bearman. I like him.
Yeah. Fun fact about Haas, they have scored points in every race so far this season and left Japan 4th in the Constructors' Championship.
What? Wow, I didn't even realize they were 4th.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we did say Haas was going to be
the front of the midfield,
and here
they're solidly.
Yeah. I mean, and Ollie's been ahead of Red Bull. This is the first race that Haas has been kind of behind, so I'm that's wow. Well, good for Haas.
Literally. Didn't even realize.
Yep.
But yeah, they are 4th.
Nice.
They're front of the midfield. Hot dog.
Yeah. Well, not a good segue. Speaking of Audi,
Speaking of hot dogs.
Speaking of hot dogs, Audi. Hot dog. Jonathan Wheatley left.
With Audi, we have Nico Hülkenberg P11, Gabriel Bortoleto P13. Hülkenberg did climb and started from P19 on the opening lap to finishing P11. just outside the points, unfortunately. So he made good progress moving up the field, but
Mhm.
unfortunately the qualifying just like bit him in the butt.
Yeah, it just wasn't great. So we'll see with Audi. I feel like there's not like I think there's probably I'm sure honestly, it's sort of silly to say there's more to come. Of course there is because it's new regulations. Everyone's still developing, so we'll just kind of see how it goes. Because it's still sort of new for them.
And fun fact for Audi overall, Japan was the first Grand Prix this season where they got both cars to the start and to the finish.
Good job, guys.
Yeah,
We did
go.
it.
We'll take it. That's an accomplishment. We'll take it.
Hey, it is. It was supposed to be an accomplishment for Cadillac, but fair enough. Good for you too.
Cadillac, a successful race is when they start and finish.
Yes.
Apparently that is also a successful race for Audi.
Apparently. So, also, it is for Williams.
Yeah, just Audi, Williams, and Cadillac.
Aston Martin. Honestly,
those four.
Good Lord.
They're just ass.
Yeah, it's like one thing to struggle. They struggling though.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's such a difference between the midfield that I'm like, we got to make a lower field. Let's lower field now. Like there's two midfield teams, I guess. There's like
everyone else.
There's like three.
Yeah, everyone else is just back of the field.
Yeah.
Williams, we had Carlos Sainz finishing P15, Alex Albon P20. That's it. Moving on.
No, not good. Williams basically said, it was extremely painful. The car sucks and we'll talk to you in 5 weeks. We said, okay, heard. Cadillac.
Valtteri Bottas finishing P19. Sergio Perez finishing P17. Fun fact for Valtteri Bottas, he was the only driver on the grid to start on the hard tire in Japan.
I remember Joylan talking about that.
Yeah, I think everyone else started on a medium.
Yeah, everybody else, but Valtteri said, I'm different.
And then fun fact for Sergio Perez. Perez said this was Cadillac's strongest race of the season so far.
Yeah. You know what? I pretty much, if they just get the cars to cross the finish line and they're not like dead last, like honestly, that's a win for me right now.
Yeah, if they're executing pit stops, they're doing all the procedures right.
Not hitting each other.
Yeah, everything else will come together. But we've said before, this is a baby team. They're literally in their first year of Formula One ever. This is a completely ground up from scratch team.
Yes, 100%.
This isn't just like a rebranding or a rename.
No.
So they're having to learn and do everything from scratch. So, their bar and measure for success is going to look a lot different than other teams on the grid.
Yeah, for sure. Then last but not least, we have Aston Martin. We have Fernando Alonso, who finished P18, and Lance Stroll with DNF. This is the first time Aston Martin's finished a race this season. So good on them.
Either of the cars.
Yeah,
I think I asked you before we started.
Isn't that correct? I think that's right. I think just getting them to finish it all was an accomplishment. I don't think they finished anything else.
I can look real quick. Hold on. In China, they both DNF'd.
In China, and then
Australia.
I think they both DNF'd.
We had a DNF for Alonso, and then Lance Stroll finished with 15 laps down.
Okay, so okay. So yeah, Alonso, he crossed the line. Thank God for Aston Martin. They had a car finally finish.
Yeah.
Technically, which is kind of nice because Honda's their new power unit and they're in Japan. They probably they were like, you got to get across the finish line.
Just one of you.
Somebody has to do it.
Yeah, but I was going to say, I think before we even started recording, I asked you, did Aston Martin race this weekend? Yeah. Because I heard nothing other than Fernando Alonso had a baby. I heard nothing else.
He had a baby and he crossed the finish line. So good for you.
Okay.
And that wraps up everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, best and worst segment. My driver of the day is Oscar Piastri, has to be. Thank God he finally got to start a race. Mm-hmm. And he finished on the podium. Good for him.
Yeah. I would agree. I'll go with Oscar Piastri, driver of the day.
My biggest letdown is not really a person. It's just, I'm just going to say my biggest letdown is seeing the cracks in these regulations, seeing that the drivers have been complaining about something for so long, or they just showed a lot of concern early on before we even got to this point, and it wasn't taken as seriously as it clearly should have been. And hopefully we see changes moving forward because, we have to be a safety first sport. We're 190 miles an hour. Like, that's insane. And it's kind of unacceptable that it happened when it didn't have to. So I hope it's taken extremely serious because that was my biggest letdown on him. And just kind of I don't think Franco did anything that I can understand, that caused that besides just doing what the regulations are saying to do in a way. So yeah, I'm it's hard for me to even overly criticize anyone's performance at this point anyway, when there's so much they're not in. It seems that they're not in control of. That's my biggest letdown.
My biggest letdown is that I was not aware that Jack Black was at the race this weekend, and until way after the fact, and he got to wave the finish line flag.
I saw that, but I feel like they didn't want us to know that because they were there promoting the Super Mario movie, and they were like, we're not talking about Super Mario and
Or Mario Kart.
so no reference.
Yeah, because so many of the drivers
They were silenced.
mentioned that they and compared these cars and these regulations to Mario racing and Mario Kart,
Yes.
like it's a video game.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that, but I was just very let down by the fact that I didn't know until way after because I love Jack Black.
I love Jack
Who
Black,
doesn't
too.
love Jack Black?
A psycho.
He's just like
He's a national treasure. He's a gift from God.
literally.
Like, fucking perfect human.
Yeah.
Sorry. I love Jack Black. I love him. Like when Elle Fanning, that's Dakota Fanning's little sister, she said her biggest crush in her life is Jack Black, and I get it.
Yeah.
I love him. I love him.
I mean,
But everybody should.
he's like goodness, wholesomeness, he's enthusiasm personified.
I just adore him. Like I think everybody has to, and if you don't, then
You got
that says
problems.
something about you.
Mhm.
Well, with all of that being said, we will hop into our next race teaser. So, round 4 will be the Formula One Crypto.com Miami Grand Prix at the Miami International Autodrome, which is 5 weeks from now. For
Got a lot of time to prepare.
Yeah, for
Rewatch
those who
the race
aren't-
from last year.
Oh, Lord. Just as a reminder, Miami will be a sprint weekend, so the format will be different. We'll have one free practice session. That's it. And then we'll go into sprint qualifying, sprint race, then straight into the Grand Prix qualifying for those who do need a little bit of a refresher on how the sprint format works. So Miami is a sprint race, so we have 2 podiums to go over from last year. The 2025 sprint results, we had Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, and Lewis Hamilton. That's right. He did well the China sprint and last year. Anyway, the GP results were Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, and George Russell. Now the track stats. The first GP was held in 2022. It is 57 laps long. The circuit length is 5.412 kilometers, which is about 3.362 miles. The race distance is 308.326 kilometers, which is about 191.584 miles. The race lap record is held by Max Verstappen, which he set in 2023, at 1 minute and 29.708 seconds. And the qualifying lap record is also set by Max Verstappen, which he set last year in 2025, at 1 minute and 26.204 seconds. The GOAT.
Mm-hmm. Bye.
No, do. Yeah, never mind. Nope. Keeping my thoughts here. Okay. What is the track like? Miami is a fast, temporary circuit with long straights, heavy braking zones, and a technical middle section. It has a street circuit feel, but with higher speeds than a lot of the street tracks. So confidence under braking and good traction out of slow corners matter a lot. Any street circuit is super punishable. So if you can go in the wall pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Which makes it particularly concerning with what happened with Ollie Bearman.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he wasn't hurt more than he was and that there wasn't more damage than there was is because there was some runoff before he hit the wall.
Yeah.
Versus, a street circuit like Miami, if that same thing happens again, there could be a lot more dire repercussions from that.
Yeah. So the tire compounds and the strategy, Pirelli has not officially announced the 2026 Miami compounds yet, so I could not find that. If you all have that information and want to put it in the comments, go right ahead, but I couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't announce it till like a week before.
Yeah. So Miami has generally leaned towards a one-stop race, but strategy can get shaken up a little bit from how hot it's going to be. Is it going to rain? The tire wear, safety cars, things like that. So, but typically it's a one-stop. And can we overtake in Miami? Well, honestly, this question's so funny. I felt like it was a really good idea to put this in here when I started this section, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe. I mean, it says we can, sometimes we can't.
With the new regulations, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
Because there seems to be more, it creates more opportunities to overtake where you wouldn't maybe necessarily traditionally overtake on certain courses. So I feel like it's just hard to say at each track what is possible. Because, I mean, they even mentioned for Suzuka, they said that, Suzuka can traditionally be kind of a boring race because it is hard to overtake, but we still had overtakes this race. So who's to say?
Who's to say? But overtaking should still be possible at Miami, especially into turns 11 and 17 at the end of the long straights. With the 2026 cars using overtake mode instead of traditional DRS, Miami should still offer some real passing chances, but track position and qualifying will always matter. So we'll just see. I mean, honestly, it's hard to say.
I feel like I've enjoyed Miami the last couple of races that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never like, this was a bad time.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But with that being said, this is our last race review for 5 weeks. But don't worry. We do have racing content coming out. We are going to have some F1 Academy. Well, we're going to have F1 Academy content come out. I mean, it's racing content, but it's not going to be Formula One content. We'll be having some team and driver previews finally come out since we have such a long break before we even see the girls again. And we will also be doing a little bit of more diving into F1 Academy, like not just like, oh, well, here's the refresher of how it works, but talking about where the drivers actually go from F1 Academy, like actually, kind of establishing why it's more than just like, oh, here are some girls that are racing and that's it. Like, no, it's an actual pipeline and we want to dive into it and actually showcase how it has worked. And then we have our regular episodes that we'll talk about whatever we want.
Yeah. And if you have no idea or haven't seen any of our regular WayPod episodes before, we just put one out where we kind of did a refresher on like getting to know us and kind of more how our friendship originated and more like
the
sort
origin
of like
story.
Yeah. And just some more about our like personalities and stuff like that. And then we also talked about some other topics.
Timothée Chalamet hating the opera.
Yeah.
And ballet.
So mainly just go watch that episode if you want to get a taste of what our regular WayPod episodes are like. We are starting those back up because we miss doing them.
It's a lot less preparation.
Yeah. We kind of just fly by the seat of our pants sometimes.
Yeah.
And just to let you know a little more about what those episodes are a little bit like, we typically try to pick a topic that's current or relevant to like current events.
Yeah.
Whether it's pop culture, not so much politics, but pop culture, things in the news, hot topics people are talking about, we will discuss them, but we typically go do a deeper dive into them. So we use them as a jumping off point to have like deeper or funnier conversations.
Yeah.
We think we're funny. Hopefully you do too. And yeah, I think you should go give those episodes a chance. And we have 5 weeks until the next F1 race review.
Yeah.
So if you want more of just us, which why wouldn't you?
I know.
Please subscribe and stick around for those episodes. I think they're a lot of fun.
Yes, they are a lot of fun. And guys, please, I love the engagement. It makes me so happy. I just am like, please continue.
Leave comments,
like, comment, subscribe, and we will talk at you at some point next week for sure. But our next race review will be in 5 weeks. So yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk at you next time.
Yep.
Bye.